Hello and welcome to this first day for the software testing tutorials. So I've come to you with the series of new tutorials that give the very fundamental and foundation level details about what is software testing, manual testing or quality assurance all about at a very basic granular level. So I have about 5-6 slides for this day one, and what I call as day one is the first introductory session. So once we go through these 5-6 slides, we're going to get into the activity itself. Let me quickly go to the agenda of what we will cover today and give you an overview. So the first thing is I wanted to give you a very quick background. So I've come to you after successfully launching qtp-elearn.com and selenium-elearn.com, which have become very popular. Millions of views on YouTube, thousands of participants globally, and hundreds of participants continue to join this e-learn program every month. With that success and a constant demand for the basics, the foundation level of the manual testing part, I've come to you with this series of recordings that will help you. These are kind of self-learning tutorials, but very well built around the practical work-based culture and so on. So what you will see here is not really the theory part of it, but how we as software testing professionals in this IT economy perform the daily tasks, what happens, and try and build you up. So do note, team, that this is not a typical training where I have a bunch of slides or documents or I go through the concepts or definitions. No, we will talk more in terms of roles, responsibilities, projects in a very different manner. So once you keep watching each of these videos, you'll get a good flow of it. The one goal, however, is to ensure that how can we successfully either launch or be able to progress your software testing career. All right. Now, who could you be? That's the second point that you see here now. Who are you? Who is this for? So you could be anyone who's, for example, a student aspiring to get into IT technology area and is ready for the job level. Someone who's been working probably in a different industry, trying to make a switch over of the field from where you are into IT. Someone who's an absolute beginner into IT, hasn't been working for a while. Or you could be someone who's already been working, a working professional who's been working in software testing or related fields in the other areas, but still would like to get some good fundamental concepts and so on. Now, the intent is very simple. How do we take you from wherever you are to be able to understand the world of software testing, which will help you towards your interviews, your other different career-based objectives in there. All right. Now, this video session will follow with many more webinars that will help you become successful software testing engineer. So what are the steps to become one? What are the steps or fundamental principles of being a successful QA engineer or a software testing engineer? All right. Now, let's quickly get into the brightest part of this whole webinar. This is now about the first software testing project. So I'm going to give you a kind of a project and we will try and dig deep into it. You'll get a good idea of what I'm trying to do. It's a lot of role play in what we're doing. All right. And then at the end, I'll talk about recap, questions, quiz assignments. Now, what you see here may not be all in the form of this e-learning video format, but I'm going to be placing these videos in a very strategic location on my blog or my website, and you will get a chance to be able to participate with thousands of other global members and be able to enhance your skill through it. Okay. Now, so these are the different things I wanted to talk about the first software testing project that we will take as part of this day one. All right. So what are we going to talk about? I'm going to give you a quick background, some role play of who's who, the responsibilities, what application are we talking about in this first project, everything. You know, we are like absolute beginners into it. So let's go dig right away into it and take a quick look. So here is an Excel sheet. I love to go with an Excel always because it gives me a structured representation of what I wish to do. I'm someone who believes a lot in structure, in process, in being very organized in how we do and what we do. This gives us very good ability of whatever we want to work on. All right. So what am I talking about? Here is the situation or the story so far. Right. So I want you to imagine what? That you will be joining your first software testing job, and this is almost like the introductory thing. On day one, you're sitting with your QA lead or a software testing lead, and he or she is trying to give you the overview, right? So here is what the discussion kind of happens. So we talk about the client. Who is the client? Pinterest.com. Now, what is this Pinterest.com? Honestly, I have not been an expert yet, and I'm assuming so have you not been. But the idea is, yes, this is where we start. Okay, so Pinterest.com is a company. What does it do? Not sure yet. But it has an exciting new functionality. What is it? Not sure yet. So what is all this? This is a communication that you're getting for the first time. As we go into day 2, day 3, day 4, you will see how you're developing your skill on the software testing. And as a process of this project execution, how do you learn all those concepts? Right? Now, so Pinterest is looking for experts and users who actually going to come in and help to test this application before they launch. Parts of the application must have been launched, but there must be other parts which are yet to be launched. But before we get to launch them, they want to make sure that, hey, it's working well, it's not going to break down. When the users are going to use it, it is as expected and so on. So different requirements there. And they have hired you now to join that team of IT engineers. Okay, so where's the current status? You have a team, you've joined that IT team, that's about it. What are you? Let's assume that you're a fresher, a student who's just passed out, or an experienced individual but not in IT, okay, not in software testing. So very, very beginner level. You're also someone who's probably a little lost, scared, confused, because that is where each of us, for example, if someone comes to me and says that I want to teach you about stocks, right, or investing, I'll be like lost. One lost soul in that whole audience. Why? Because that is not something I have been associated with it. But 10 days of involving into it, I have a different comfort level. But this is where we all start, right? But that's where we say starting. This is our day 1. Okay. That's my story so far. Here's the background. Simple note, which I'm assuming you read it. I don't need to repeat it and read it out for you. All right. Then there's something called as R&R, the roles and responsibilities. Now, one other thing, team, is that what you see here is just a representation. There is nothing standard about it. I have built it for the purpose of this project at the moment. All right. This is nothing standard, but just something we'll customize, and we will continue to use it as we go on. Now, let's go to R&R. Okay. So you are a trainee in QA. That's your primary role. You're a QA trainee. Okay. Now, what's your responsibility? You will be part of the IT team. Is it easy for you to understand what you're going to do? Okay, I'm part of the IT team. But what are you going to do? You're going to be contributing to the success of the IT team. But what is the success? How will you contribute? You're going to work as a team member. You're going to collaborate. You're going to communicate. You'll be a good team player. You're going to be positive attitude person. You know, all those soft skills and all that is going to come into it. But more importantly, what is your core thing? You're going to work as part of the QA team or organization, and your duty is to ensure that you release a quality product into the market. In the sense, if tomorrow this company called Pinterest launches something into the market and something fails at it on that application, at that time, you know, you will feel extremely sheepish if you see that, hey, this has been my project, I was supposed to be testing it, but look, the users are finding defects which I put in, right? That's the primary objective. What are defects, these errors, bugs? Don't worry about that. Very basic concept that we're talking about at the moment. You'll also, so as part of that, you have to identify, report defects. So there's so many things, right? But you also have to do test plans, test cases, scenarios, test management, all of these things you have to do. Now, as part of all this, you have to ensure a smooth, defect-free release. All right, that is very important. Now, what is next after this? The software testing baby steps, right? So, some parts of what you see is clear, most parts of it may not be clear. What does that mean? That means that our level of expertise has not yet been built. We are not yet matured. We're just making the baby steps, right? So the most important thing about this is how do we go about taking those baby steps, right? Questions, for example, what is it that we wish to test? Where is it that we wish to test something? How do we test something, right? So what is this? All of this is still very crazy. There's no understanding of it. And that is where we need to take our first steps. Now, what is the first steps of the whole thing? Is process. The process of doing something. Why? I cannot theoretically explain it to you, but as we go along, I will be able to show it to you and link it back to what we talked about process and the importance of it. Right now, I just want you to know that understanding the application, the scope of what we are supposed to be doing, ensuring that we document everything and ensuring that we communicate it to others is the key outline of it. How is it all going to play? Now let's take a quick look immediately at the application. So we're talking Pinterest, right? So what is the application? This is the application, Pinterest.com. Now what is this application? This application is something about users trying to use the web as an online pin board that they could use to store or pin things what they think are important or they want to come back to and be able to share it with their contacts, friends, or their entire social network and so on, right? Something which is really taking steam in the market. It's not the next Facebook or it's not a Twitter, it's just different offering, different audience or similar audience, different features, right? So it's got its own set of functionality with it. Now, what you see is a bunch of things on the screen. You see a lot of background, you see images, you see links, right? Now, what are we talking about? What application it is? Day one, nothing is being explained to you yet, right? What is being told you? You just come in, get familiarized with it, right? So you will go about saying, hey, okay, there's a search button here. There's something. It's an absolutely new site. English. Okay, about. Let's say we're going to go to the help section. So many things here. You are going to play around this application. All right. That's the most important part of what we will do as part of day one. Now, what is your specific area? We will come to it. And that specific area is going to be the categories. Do you see? Categories new. The reason it is new, it has just been launched. However, there are more changes that are expected and so on. Do we know the changes? No. I've just taken an example to be able to relate you with the concepts of software testing, the basic fundamentals. See, so far did I talk about anything? Did I say what is functional testing? What is a regression testing or unit testing? No, forget about terms. Terms are bookish. They are just definitions. Definitions become very clear when you practically go about looking at it, right? That is what we will see. Now, so there are different categories. Okay? As part of the first exercise, just to play around. Don't waste too much time. Just play around, see what it is. For example, we click on play kids. Now, on the kids, you'll see there's so many other sections. Probably when each user is pinning it, they're able to see what it is, right? And they are able to see that this belongs to specifically to a category of kids. You know, you can go in here and see, look at all the interesting things that people are doing, right? There's so much happening in the world. Great, looks good, right? Now, what are we doing? So we have to keep going back to the scope of our activity. Do we want to just play around? No, we want to do very specific things. And that is where we're going to come into our testing process. Okay. So I have three things here. As part of testing it. So what is testing? Your duty is, let's say, Karthik, you're coming in, you're going to do A, B, C. You're going to see if it's working or not. Now, what is the first thing I want to do? I want to be able to go to the website, right? I want to be able to go to the home page. How do I go to the home page? I should be able to go. Oh, there you go. And then I should be able to see categories new. That's the first thing. Okay. So I will say order one. This is the serial number. To do what? Go to the main website. Okay. And ensure that we see categories new in there. Alright. Now the result of this is basically, is this working or not? So this is the first step, and is it working or not? That's the result. So is it working? Yes. Do we say it? Correct. So I'm going to say pass. Okay. And for each pass, what I'll do is, let's say I want to put it into a green background. Right? Why am I doing this? Just to make it a little bit more interesting and so. Now, as a second step, what do I want to do? When we take our mouse over this feature, okay, we need to see the different categories listed. Okay, now is this happening? Yes, I take my mouse over, this is what is happening. Now I'm going to say this is also a pass. Okay, and let's say the third one is when we click on one of the categories. So click on one of those categories. You should see let's see, where can I see art out here? I don't see art, but you should go to the art. Okay, you should not see, navigate. Right? Navigate to that page and see all articles. I don't know if articles is the right word, but that's fine for now. You can see all articles with that category. All right. Now, do we see this? Hopefully, but is everything art? Not sure. Let's assume that yes, this is. But let's say this is made. Right. Now, what did we do? What we did is a very simple set of things. Right. I am talking about a testing process. The process is I have different steps. What are the steps? Is to do. What should I do? And what is the result out of it? Hey, but if you look at each of these to do, this is more like the steps itself, correct? So I'm going to call this as steps, right? But this is also testing steps, correct? So I'm going to call this as test steps. Do you see this? So your test steps are what is it that we expect to do, right? Now, what is next? If you look at out here, you will see each of these sentences has two parts into it. Do something, expect something. You do something, you expect something. You do something and you get what you expect, you say result is pass. You do something and you don't see what you expect, the result is fail. So that means I can break these things for further simplicity into two things. So I'm going to introduce a new column and I'm going to call this as what to expect. Making sense? Right? So go to the main website and ensure that we see categories new. So that is what we expect after here. Right? Ensure that we see categories new. We can be more specific. Menu bar link. Alright? Is that what we see? Yes. Then we take our mouse over this feature, over this link. Okay? See? Very specific. It cannot be generic. What is specific? If I give it to anyone within my organization or within my team, they should all be able to understand. So your communication is very important. You're not going to say that, you know, my car is in the parking. You have to say that, hey, my car, this is the color, make, it's in the parking, this lot. Whatever makes it easy for someone to identify, right? So you have to be very specific most of the times. When we take our mouse over this menu link, okay, what do you see? We need to see the different categories listed as sub-menu items. What are this menu and sub-menu? What you see here is your main menu bar, your main menu links, okay? There are a few more out here, okay? But when you see that there's a small drop-down kind of a thing for each of them, you see there are sections of it, all right? Now, great. So this is one, and, you know, for each of them, we have a specific action or test set that we perform, and there are specific expectations that we get. All right. So we have documented them in this now. One more quick thing before I end day one is this. Now we have done good. So we have worked on categories new, but you know, I have just joined the team. I am full of energy. I have so much time. I just want to play around. This is interesting. What do I want to do? I want to try and do a few more steps. Not the same categories, but something different. I know there's so many other things I could do on categories. How about this login? Okay, So how do we go about doing login? Same thing. I'll start with go to the main website. So this is out number 4. Go to the main website and we'll say and click login button, right? That is what we're going to do. Now what do? We go to login and we click this. Now what do you see? I see email, password. All right. Exciting. All right. So go to the main website and click on login button. Now what do? We have to see the email and password on that. Right? So that is what we got to see. Now is this a pass? Yes. Now do this again. But out here, the other one I want to see is for the same thing. I want to see if there is let's say forgot your password also. See, forgot your password as well. This is the other thing that I expect to see. Do I see this? Yes, I'm going to say this is a pass as well. Okay. Maybe was, maybe, you know, we're not sure about certain things. So we're going to put this here. Now, what is the challenge? This is the same thing, right? What you see is that how do I differentiate what is what, right? These three are in one flow. This is another completely different one. This is a different one, right? So there should be some way of differentiating that. And that is why we put one logical flow of steps. It could be one step or multiple steps into something called as a test case or a test scenario, right? So that is what your test case or test scenario is, right? I'm going to say this is test case or your scenario. What is it that we want? And we can give everything a name. The name for this is categories basic test 1. That is the name I have given to it. All right. This is all one category. And here I'll call this as probably login. But this is, what is this? Edit fields. I'm seeing this edit or text fields where the user can enter the text. All right. Now the same thing, this is also login, but we will talk about this being, can we see the forgot password? Okay, that part of the functionality. Now do you see? Everything is getting shaped differently. So we've learned about how do we take our baby steps. We learned about taking the first initial role into software testing. How do we go about analyzing, and some basic things like what are test steps, what we wish to do, what we expect, what is the result, and test case and scenario. At a high level, as we continue to delve into this, you will be able to master them very predominantly, right? So that's the day one. That's what I wanted to talk about as day one. Hopefully not too long. We'll try and limit it to 20 to 30 minutes each session. So that way there's enough time for you to be able to go back, look at it, and be able to master these things, right? So I'll see you in day 2, and we'll continue from there on. Thank you. Bye now.